my honor and privilege to bring up now the superintendent of the Garland Independent School District to talk about the state of the district. And I've been told that if I spend time talking, he doesn't have enough time to talk about the district. So would you please welcome our superintendent, Dr. Bob Morrison.
Good afternoon. If everybody would take your map at your table, and the map is going to be the road guide in our way through today's little visit. If you notice on one side, the part that does not look like the map, it has a lot of pictures, a picture of me and the board on it. That side kind of lets everybody know what's going on in Garland, a lot of the exciting things. The Education Foundation is on that side of the map. You can see pictures of our board members there. It talks about reasons to live, work, and learn in Garland, in the Garland area. But then when you flip it over, this is what the presentation is going to be about. And this is our kind of milestone map. And you can see the whole map up here on the screen. And these are the things that we've been doing the last 3 years in Garland ISD. I think a lot of times people always ask me, what's the district been doing? What kinds of programs do we have for our students? I hope that you take this map with you. I hope you put it in your business. I hope you show people. If there's realtors in here and you want to get copies of this, I think it's a great promotional tool to get people to move into the Tri-Cities. I truly believe when you hear some of the things that we're doing, you may have heard about it, but you forgot about it, or you didn't see that story on the news and those kinds of things. I think you'll see some amazing accomplishments, and so we're going to get started. It starts off on our milestone map with the Tradition-Rich, Future-Ready. This was our strategic plan, in which we're about 3 years into the 5-year plan. We've accomplished about 75% of it so far, so we're right on track on what we need to be doing. And towards the end of this presentation, probably one of the biggest initiatives on there, when we get to iPads, you will hear about in full detail. As we move forward, one of the things that Garland has had for years, well before I got here, and it'll be well after I leave, 2013 to 2016, best communities. George Jones and our music department do an outstanding job of providing our students with, just an unbelievable opportunity to engage in the musics. And it's not just vocal, it's the band, it's orchestra, it's a lot of things. And so we're very, very proud of their accomplishments. And if you see the QR codes on here, if you hold your phone and or iPad over a QR code, there's a story that will link to that. You can read more about it, or sometimes there's a video that goes along with it. Then one of the first things we did when I got to Garland, the board was very committed. And let me kind of stop right here. A lot of the things that you're going to hear are ideas that took place. Either they came to us from the community, some came from board members, but a lot of them came from administration. But it requires a school board to be supportive, because I can recommend a lot of things, but they're the ones that get to vote on whether it gets funded or not. So if I say we added 7 nurses at to make sure we have a nurse at every campus, it was the school board that voted for those 7 nurses. So I appreciate their commitment. And when I was interviewing for the job, one of the things that I noticed was that we lacked some nurses at some of our campuses. Well, we have students with all sorts of medical issues that need to have access to an RN. It's not, so we have RNs at every one of our campuses in Garland. And that's a tremendous accomplishment. If you look around to a lot of districts, they do a lot of sharing, and they may have some kinds of nurses, but they don't necessarily have an RN at every campus. So we're very, very proud of that. Then we looked at expanding elementary art. When I got here, we had 8 schools that had elementary art. This year, we are up to 39 of our campuses that have elementary art. And if you think about that, this year I think we added 9 campuses. That's a commitment. When I talk about the financial commitment to these kinds of things, when you add a teacher, we budget $65,000 for a teacher. And the teacher may not cost that much, but we budget $65,000. So you can kind of see in 1 year what a financial commitment to make sure we're expanding art. I truly believe that students who are engaged in the arts, whether that be music or the visual or drawing arts, things like that, they are going to be a better student. If you think about your experience in school, a lot of you were engaged. Not everybody plays football. We have students that their talent is art, and so we have this story here.
Students in the Garland ISD are getting something new this year.
Art class will be introduced to the kids at 9 elementary schools for the very first time. This part of a mission the district has been working on. They've wanted to roll it out since 2013. We went to Sewell Elementary School where they unveiled the new program for this year's students.
They're getting their eyes open right now. So this is just the beginning, and I'm so excited to be teaching this.
It gives you an opportunity to get your feelings out, but not like you get to express it on paper.
And then 2 lines.
Now Garland ISD has 38 elementary schools with an art program, and the district plans to have art classes for the rest of their elementary schools next year.
All right.
I think one of the great things about this map is you can link to that story and you can show people that. There's a commitment to those, to all these programs. Then we have free college readiness exams. What that is, that's the PSAT and the SAT. Well, at this particular time, we're talking about the PSAT. So every one of our students takes the PSAT in the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. The PSAT is the precursor to the SAT. It's the PSAT test that qualifies you to be a national merit student, whether you get to be a national merit semifinalist and potentially a national merit finalist. And so in the last several years, we've averaged around 6 to 7 students. We actually had 7 this year. We had 1 student decline, didn't want to be in the program. It's up to the student if they want to be in the program. We had 7 qualifying scores, but only 6 students wanted to participate. And last year we had 7 students. And what I would tell you is we're making a lot of tremendous strides in really trying to reach our gifted students. Now, how many of you in this room, show of hands, have heard of the Khan Academy? Raise your hand high. Okay, if you have not heard of the Khan Academy, I'm glad you're listening. So the Khan Academy is a nonprofit, but if you just Google Khan Academy, K-A-H-N, it is a program. So if you have students and you're struggling as a parent, you don't remember geometry very well, the Khan Academy has tutorials for every one of the geometry assignments that any book ever teaches, and you can watch them with videos. And so if you don't understand biology, you can go and look at that. You don't understand calculus as a parent because it's been a while since you've had it. You can look at you can go up to the Khan Academy, and there's tutorials provided. But one of the things that Khan Academy also does is they take your PSAT score, so your eighth grade student score, and they merge it with the Khan Academy merges with the College Board PSAT, and they create a study guide for the 9th grade test that's personalized for each student. So it's not everybody taking the same study guide, it's the one for your child. Each of our students in Garland last year were enrolled. We're at 100% of our students that took the test last year enrolled into Khan Academy. That's the highest percentage in the United States. There's no other district. There's a district in Florida that has more students because they're 3 times our size, but they don't have the highest percentage. My goal was to get 100% of our kids. So each one of our students right now can go to the Khan Academy and do the study guide for the next year's PSAT test, and that's free. Parents, it's free and offered to them. Then we look at National Math and Science Initiative. This is a program where there's a lot of tutorials that go on Saturdays. Our students come in for study sessions. The best part of this is you can see, like Arthur E. Williams here, he won, he got $500. That means he passed 5 AP tests. So our students at our high schools that pass an advanced placement test, which is a college, you get college credit. For each test that you pass, the students get $100 and the teachers get a financial reward for that. We've been doing this program in several of our schools for 3 years, and it just started at the rest of our schools starting this year. So all 7 of our high schools now are enrolled in this program. And you can see, this particular student was $100. They passed 1 test. But we had a student at North Garland this year here that passed 8 tests. So their check was for $800. That's a lot. I mean, folks, I don't know how many ever took an AP test, an AP class. Try 8 of them at once. That's truly an accomplishment. Then we look at the bond program, and we're well underway in that. We did 13 schools this summer. We haven't finished the construction and the remodel in those 13 schools, but we started that. A lot of bathroom remodels, a lot of hallways fixed, just a lot of safety and security issues. You can see that there's a lot of construction going on throughout the district. And we roll out the next 13 schools this summer. So the first 13 will be finished up by summer. The next 13 roll out to the next summer. And there's a 4-year phase project, four phases to the bond program that we're working through as we go. Then we have a summer reading program. Every one of our pre-K, kinder, and first grade students walk out at the end of the year with a backpack that has 5 books in it. We encourage reading all year long. We want students and parents to read to we want the parents to read to their students over the summer. Many of these books are language appropriate for the students that are there. It's a lot of our pre-K, kinder, and first graders only speak, their majority language is Spanish. A lot of those books are in Spanish. Some of them are in English. They get a mix between the two because the parents may or may not be able to read the English book, but they can read to them in Spanish, and then we're trying to transition them to the English. Then we have middle school soccer. One of the things that when you have 54% of your students that are Hispanic, when they call football is not what we watched last night, the Cowboys play, all right? And when we started looking at what were a way that we could reach out to the needs of our Hispanic students, what engages them, it was soccer. We did not have soccer in the middle schools in this district, so we added soccer 2 years ago, and it's a thriving program. Sometimes we'll have 150 kids come and try out for just the spots on a particular team. So we added middle school soccer. Then we have breakfast in the classroom. And what breakfast in the classroom is, Garland being 3 cities, there's a different need depending upon where you live from a financial standpoint. Any school that is 75% free and reduced lunch qualifies for this breakfast in the classroom. So what that means, it's set up by the Department of Agriculture. So everybody in the school gets to eat a free breakfast if you're over 75%. So we have 25 schools in Garland ISD that the students eat breakfast every day. What's the purpose of that? We want them starting the day off, right, with a healthy breakfast, and then it gets them starting their day off in a positive manner. So 25 of our schools do that. Then Garland has been recognized. You're going to see this a few times over the course of this map. In 2014, Ruth Roach and Walnut Glen Academy, Blue Ribbon School. If you just do a little research on Blue Ribbon is the highest honor that a school district can get from the Department of Education. Every year, the state of Texas gets 26 spots out of the entire state. This year, Garland got 2 of those 26. Okay, and so that means 2 of our schools were the very best of the very best, and it's the highest honor that you can get. Then we have Avid. Avid was well established before I got into the district. Now, one thing that we have expanded with the board's help on this, the commitment to having Avid at each of our middle schools, high schools, and we have it about half of our elementary schools now. When I first got here, it was about half our middle schools and half our high schools and very few elementary. So it's one of those programs that we're continuing. Avid is a program for first-time college-ready students. We're trying to get students whose parents never went to college because they don't understand. The parents have never been down that path, so they don't know exactly how to take their children down that path. It's a program designed for students whose parents never went to college to be in that program. We have students in our district that have never been to a university, and there's some of them within 10 miles of here, right? Exposure to those programs. And so what Avid does, it teaches you how to make study skills, take notes, being college ready, and we have it at every one of our middle schools and high schools now. Then we had the Global Business and Magnet Leadership Program at Naaman Forest. These students are enrolled in global business. They also have Mandarin Chinese. Students who are in the Mandarin Chinese program will start next summer. We'll be sending some of those students to China on a kind of a summer program. That'd be 21 days. And so they get fully immersed into the language, and that's part of that program. And we have around 110 students so far in the first 2 years, about 55 students a year that have enrolled in that program. And we figure the program, we think after 4 years will be somewhere, probably we'll have around 250 students or so in that global business. And we're in partnership with University of Texas at Dallas in our business programs. Then we gave iPads to all of our teachers about 19 to 20 months ago. Now we gave the iPads to teachers anticipating we would be giving the iPads to the students, which has just started at the high schools, and we gave the teachers about 18 months head start because the teachers are going to need 18 months of head start to get, because the kids are going to be so much better on their devices than they are. And the teachers are already finding that out, especially at Garland High. Garland High's had their iPads for over a week now. I think they're in their second week, and the kids are already telling the teachers, if you do this, it'll make it easier. So it's pretty cool, but the teachers have had theirs for about 18 months or so. Then we sent teachers to Ron Clark. Ron Clark came in and spoke at a convocation, but it's a Ron Clark Academy, and it's a creative way to engage learning. And so it's just not sit and get, kind of like what I'm doing to you right now where I'm sitting and presenting. I wish this was more interactive, but we don't want the classroom to be like this. We want the classroom to be engaging where the students are doing hands-on learning and hands-on activities and things like that. And we spent probably over about 300 teachers to the Ron Clark Academy. And then they bring that back and share it with their other teachers. And we have a lot of those exciting things happening at a lot of our schools in Garland. Now it says freshman soccer. Now you would think, why is freshman soccer up there? Well, because when I went to Homer and I went to Cliff and I said, hey, I think we need to do middle school soccer, they looked at me weird and said, well, we've tried that before. And I said, well, let's try it again. And it went great, but I didn't realize we didn't have freshman soccer. So when the kids finished 8th grade, we didn't have anywhere for them to go because there wasn't a freshman team. So we added freshman soccer the following year. Then we have the Steamposium. If you've never been to the Steamposium, it's at the Curtis Colwell Center. It's the science and technology and arts and engineering and math. And it's for all the students that don't, there may be some athletes in this group, but part of our responsibility as a district is to meet the needs of all of our kids. And a lot of our students are creative in different ways. And this is for them to take their creativity, do projects, compete against one another for prizes, for trophies, for things like that. That picture says it all, doesn't it? Doesn't get any better than that. Doesn't get any better than that. And so you can see just all the variety of different things that we have there at the Steamposium. I encourage you to attend that this year. Then I got a phone call the next year from the Department of TEA and said, congratulations, you're going to have another Blue Ribbon school. And I said, well, let's see. If you want to give me another one, I guess that's okay. So Kimberlin Academy in 2015 was recognized. And there were only 25 schools in the state of Texas this year, and we had one of the 25. So that means in 2 years, we've had 3 of the 51 schools. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for Garland ISD. Then we have AVID at some of our schools, but we have AVID is also, you can get demonstration school, which this is AVID's highest honor. So these are the schools that they send other districts to say, if you're starting an AVID program, go model it after these schools. They do it better than anybody else. So North Garland got theirs for the first time, and then O'Banion got it again for the second time. So it's not just that we have the program, we're doing the program at the very best and the very highest levels that the national organizations recognize that in Garland ISD, it doesn't get any better than what we're currently doing it. And I think that's an accomplishment to everyone in that program. Then we opened up an employee clinic. This is it's also a retention program for employees. It's a great recruiting tool. The employees can go to this clinic. It's for minor things. It's not for major stuff. But for $10, they can go, if the allergies are acting up, think they may have the flu, those kinds of things. And what it does is if we can get the antibiotics into either the children of the employees, because it's not just for the employees, it's for the employees, their spouse, and their children, okay, then the teacher's not out as much. If the teacher's not out as much, it's less substitutes. Less substitutes means better instruction in the classroom. So it's one of those things that, healthier employees are more productive. And so it's a great program for us, and it's been a great addition to Garland ISD, and it sits over by Best Buy. If you want to know where it is, if you haven't seen it, it's over in that shopping center by Best Buy, off of Bush. Then we had Dr. Brown do a mentoring program last year. He's back this year doing the same mentoring program. We identify at-risk students, and we try to pair them with an adult mentor. The first year we had 249 students paired with a mentor. Of the 249 students, not one of them got sent to the alternative school for persistent misbehavior. These are kids that consistently were in trouble the year before, that when we establish a relationship with them and we guide them, guess what happened? When they realized somebody cared about what they were doing, they acted better. That's a novel approach, isn't it, to learning? So Dr. Brown's back this year. We have the same program, but we also have a program that is specifically looking at African-American males. We're trying to close the gap in our African-American males' behavior and attendance and looking at the things that are adversely impacting our African-American males. So he's working with several schools just in that area alone. Then we have Reading with Rodney bus. You saw the Reading with Rodney bus when you walked in. I would strongly encourage you as you leave to go take a tour of the bus. Rodney, the name Rodney is Rodney Mills. Rodney Mills is our employee at the Curtis Colwell Center. 2 convocations ago, 2 years ago, I sit there and I was speaking about 2 boys and how they had impacted each other's lives and they didn't know it. One of those boys had a reading problem. And so it's about 2 weeks after the convocation, and I'm back at the Curtis Colwell Center, and Rodney comes up to me, and I know Rodney real well. I see him there all the time. And Rodney comes up to me and he goes, hey, I really enjoyed your speech, at convocation. I said, well, thanks, Rodney. And he said, and the next thing he said to me, and some of you have heard me tell this story before, but I never get tired of telling it. And he said to me, he goes, well, Dr. Morrison, he goes, I don't know how to read. Now, when you have a grown man who's 45 years old or so look you in the eye and says he doesn't know how to read, what goes through your mind? What's the first thing you're going to say? Because I was like frozen in time. Now, I know it seemed like I answered him right away, but that being said, there was a little bit of delay there. And I said, well, Rodney, do you want to know how to read? I said, we are a school district. We might be able to find some help, And he said, yeah, I really would. He goes, I've always wanted to be able to text my daughter. I said, how old's your daughter? And he said, she's 23. I said, okay, Rodney. So I had a teacher, Christina Weeks, come to me and wanted to do a superintendent intern program, and she happened to be a reading teacher and dealt with reading. And I called her and I said, would you mind helping Rodney out? And she said, no. So she met Rodney twice a week for a year. All right? And then about halfway through the year, Rodney, I got a text, Christmas Day. And I think the interesting, you get a lot of texts. Your friends will text you, Merry Christmas, those kinds of things, or Happy Holidays, those kinds of things. But the best text I ever got, this is Rodney and I's text that we go back and forth now daily, because he texts me every day and says, how's it going today, or what are you doing, that kind of thing. The best text I ever got was from Rodney Mills, Christmas 2 years ago, when he said, Merry Christmas. Now, the one thing that Rodney gets mad at me on is I spell out every word to make him read it. Because you know how when you text, you kind of text like B and C and those kinds of things. I'll see you later, but you don't really spell the words out. I got to practice. I got to help him out with his reading. But the coolest thing is he texts me all the time now. And he doesn't have to have anybody read his emails to him anymore like he did. He doesn't have to have any of that stuff. So the bus is out there. I encourage you. This goes out to the community. It will have, in the summer, it will go around to different apartment complexes, different churches, different senior citizen centers. People can check books out. They can turn the books into any one of our schools, and then it gets back onto the bus, and we keep checking the books out. So the Reading with Rodney bus is an unbelievable asset to this district, and it just promotes the reading, and it promotes everything. Then we have Special Olympics. When I first got here, we had a great track meet, but we didn't have Special Olympics. And I know Mr. Glick and I had conversation about this when he was board president. You can see our Special Olympic students in some of these pictures. Folks, if that just doesn't warm your heart, nothing will. But what I would tell you is that program, we have over 1,000 students in our Special Olympics program now. 1,000 students that are competing, and they can compete now at the state level if they qualify at qualifying events. I did a book study last year, Inside the Magic Kingdom, which was on customer service, encouraging people to just be nice to everyone when they walk into a campus. You think, well, it's a school, everybody's nice. You know how stressful schools are? You know how stressful, parents don't always send emails that are always pleasant. Sometimes the emails aren't, and how do you respond to that? Or you pick up the phone and somebody's angry. Because I always tell people, the parents are passionate because it's about what? It's about their kids. And people sometimes, focus doesn't necessarily come out nice and clean when you're talking about your own kids. But this was a great book study. I did 71 book studies at all the 71 campuses last year, and that was a lot of fun. Then we have our Family and Community Engagement Department. It's a new department, not necessarily new employees. We restructured some things. And so we have sessions every month. If you click on that QR code, it's going to tell you monthly all the different nighttime activities and nighttime events that parents can go learn about this, learn about that, how to parent this situation, how to parent that situation. We bring in experts, and it's every month, and there's a program. So it's one of those things where we're trying to reach out to the parents. It's not just about educating our students, but it's about educating our parents as well. Then SAT. We did the PSAT, we pay for everything. Now the board stepped up and we pay for the SAT for every student. We do not want a financial barrier to be a reason why a student doesn't look to go to college. As many of you know, a lot of our students, if there is a financial need, they're the ones that are going to qualify for the scholarships, right? If they're a good student, they're going to qualify for those grants and those scholarships. But they're not going to qualify for anything if they don't go take the test. So instead of most of you, how many of you went on a Saturday to somewhere and took the SAT or the ACT? Most of us did, right? This is where they actually take it at the school, so we can get 100% of our kids to take the test, all right? Very, very important. Then I got another call the next year, Blue Ribbon School again, so now we're up to 4 in 3 years. So we have 4, and the Blue Ribbon recognition sticks around for 5 years. So right now, currently, we have 4 schools in Garland ISD that have the Blue Ribbon recognition, and they will continue to have that from the time that they got it for a 5-year period, and then they can qualify again. Then we have AP participation. You remember when I talked about NIMSY and we pay for, the students get $100 for if they pass a test and the teachers get some money? When you see that, you see these kinds of scores go up. Our AP participation is up 180%. The number of tests taken is 221%. To put that in real numbers, the first year I got here was February of 2013. We had 3,380 tests taken in this district for AP. Last year we had just short of 11,000, if that puts it into perspective. If you can see how that program has grown over the course of just 3 years. And we anticipate it continue to go up. So very excited about that, all the great things going on there. Then we had Montessori. We opened up Montessori this year at Herforth and Luna Elementary School. And there's a little video here I'm going to show you. There's no words to it, but I'll make some comments as we go along. Montessori is very much individualized learning. So one of the differences you'll notice in Montessori, they eat family style. It's not the regular traditional cafeteria. They set their own plates, community bowls that you dip your food out of. They have to say please and thank you. Those are novel concepts now, aren't they? But students learning the proper way to set a table. So right now at these schools, it's 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. The 3 and 4-year-old, their parents are actually paying a fee. The 5-year-olds are our kindergartners. Then next year it goes to first grade, the following year second grade, and so forth until the entire school is Montessori. So we're phasing the one traditional school out. Montessori phases in. Great program, great participation in that. Then we have the Career Tech Center. Those of you who have the crane, when I drove by today, there was a crane out there, the steel's being delivered. The foundations have been poured, the piers have been poured, and probably within a week or so, you're going to start seeing the metal go up. And this time next year, there will be students at the Career Tech Center. It will open up next year as one of our schools. Now, let me kind of explain how the Career Tech Center works. The Career Tech Center is not its own school. All 7 of our high schools will feed to the Career Tech Center. So there will be a morning session and an afternoon session. So if you think we have A day and B day. So on A day, there will be a morning session and an afternoon session. And on B day, there will be a morning session and an afternoon session. So you have different kids going on each one of those 4 sessions. So if you have 1,000 students, let's say, in the morning session, you'll have a different 1,000 students in the afternoon. Then the next day, it's a different 1,000 students, and the next day, in that afternoon, it's a different 1,000. So you could have upwards to around 4,000 different students taking career tech classes at the school. And if you look on here, there's a camera out there. So if you go to our link and look at this, it's a time-lapse camera. It takes a picture every 15 minutes. and you'll be able to see the construction. I really think this is going to be a whole lot cooler whenever the metal starts going up and you can kind of see the building go up. But right now you kind of see a lot of dirt work, but you can kind of see as things progress. And as a patron, you can sit there and watch this. It's on the website. One of the things that the board has also done, this board has made a commitment. If you haven't noticed, a lot of these initiatives require funding. And this board has made a commitment to the students in this district. And one of the best commitments that they could have ever done is they committed to pay for all the AP and IB tests. So now the students get their PSAT paid for, their SAT paid for, then the district pays for their AB and their IB test. And an AP test is over $80. It's like $93 for an AP test. So if you don't have the financial means, you don't take the test. If you don't have the financial means and don't take the test, you don't get the college credit. Many of our students are graduating with over 30 to 35 hours of college credit just off of AP. So we have the opportunity to not just build our AP program, but Garland High School has the IB program, and one of the more successful IB programs around. So I think this shows a commitment to all of our students in the district. Then we have the iPads. Now the iPads have come out, and Garland High got them the first week. Last week was Naaman Forest and Rowlett. This week is Lakeview Centennial and North Garland. Thank you. In North Garland. And so we have a story on that as well.
Every high schooler in Dallas County's second largest school district will have an iPad by the end of October. Garland ISD started handing out the first iPads to seniors this morning. Dan Haggerty live for us in Garland tonight, where they say these devices are going to change learning in and also out of the classroom. Tell us more.
You know, the community really got behind this, Doug. Of course, they started 2 years ago when they passed that $455 million bond referendum to afford these iPads and a lot more for the school district. Then you have about 120 businesses in the area with stickers like these on the front door, GISD Ready Wi-Fi Partner, to let the students know that they can hop on and do their homework just about anywhere in town. Handing these out one by one will take a while, till the end of October actually. 18,000 in all to each and every Garland high schooler.
Oh, it's going to be so much more fun.
English teacher Ashley Ramsey loves them. Her classes were the first in the district to get the iPads.
We're going to be using Apple Classroom and Google Classroom, where we're uploading our assignments.
Garland teachers trained on the devices for the past 2 years, learning apps developed for sharing notes and uploading homework, something that to most of us sounds pretty cutting edge.
It's pretty normal. It's just like something extra you get like for a Christmas gift or something. So
reaction from students was interestingly blasé, a bit different than most parents, I'm sure, watching this story.
Our parents had to actually use dictionaries, and
then again, 93% of Garland students reported having a smartphone.
It makes school go by real quick, so simple. It'll be a lot simpler, no pencils and paper. You ain't gonna ask your teacher, "But do you have a pencil?" No, you don't need that.
And the district hopes that eventually these will replace pencil and paper and heavy textbooks too. Soon, storing your kid's entire high school career in one device.
I think we're going to have to win them over a little bit and show them what we can actually do with the iPads.
One of the things in the story it talked about were partner businesses. We have 120 businesses that have that decal where our students and our parents know they can go, and it's a safe place for them to do homework if they don't have Wi-Fi at home. Starting October the 3rd, one of our high schools will remain open from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 8 o'clock at night, where any student that has their district ID badge with them can go into that high school. And if they don't have internet access at home and they needed to have a homework assignment or something like that, so we're keeping our own high schools open at night with a librarian there to help them if the student needs access to it. So not only do you have 120 places in the community that you could go, you also have the district. You have a district facility that's open. For those of you that don't know this, there's a nice app out there you should probably download just for your purposes. It's called Free Wi-Fi, and no matter what city you're in, if you click on that app, it'll tell you everywhere in that city that the free Wi-Fi is offered. So basically, that means it tells you where every McDonald's and Starbucks is. Okay, but those are important things to know. But in case you ever need Wi-Fi and you're traveling with your child or your student, that app on your phone just called Free Wi-Fi, it'll tell you exactly what you need to know. But you can kind of see the faces of the kids and the excitement of everything that's going on in those programs. Now, you got to experience the ROTC kids coming today and doing that. Wasn't that really cool? I mean, I know, you know, we, as a board, the student that was carrying the American flag, Dawson Huckabee, he is the student that came to us 2 years ago, stood at a board meeting at a podium much like this and said, I'm a sophomore in high school and y'all need to do ROTC in this district. And so off of that, we started doing some research. 2 years later, his senior year, he's the gentleman holding the American flag. And so I think Mr. Glick and I had a conversation, and we talked about, you know, and I think Mr. Glick told him, see what the efforts of one person can do. Don't ever sell yourself short. One person can control a lot of things. And so to Dawson, what he doesn't realize is it may mean something to him, but what is it going to mean to somebody coming after him, right? What's that impact of his legacy going to be? Because he had the courage of a 16-year-old, 15-year-old kid to stand up there with his mom at a board meeting in front of a bunch of complete strangers and say, would you please start a program that's going to help me? And folks, that's an incredible feeling as a board member. I know that they feel proud of that moment. I know as the superintendent, so do I. And here they are at the Cotton Bowl when two of our teams played at the Cotton Bowl Festival, and this was at the parade this past month. And they're just a part of our program and a part of our district. Some of the things that aren't on here, but if you look to the front of the page, you know, one of the things that we started this year at North Garland is we have an accelerated math program. Students can take up to 8 math classes in their 4 years of high school at North Garland. North Garland, along with 6 of our other schools, received all the distinctions that you could receive on the STAR test. We had 7 schools that had perfect scores on their STAR test, as far as in 7 different categories. That means they were in the top 25% of their comparable schools. And so North Garland just continues to do amazing things. And one of the things that we're trying to do is challenge those students that are gifted in math to really accelerate. So students are taking, now I would have never done, I took pre-cal and I may have taken Algebra 2, which I did, but I don't think I would combine the 2 classes together in the same class and accelerate through that program so I get those 2 classes over at the same time. And so these students are on a different level when it comes to math. And if people are saying, you know, how are we getting all these national merit finalists, semifinalists, and finalists now? It's because of programs like this that Dr. Wells brings forward from the curriculum division. You know, I think superintendents and board members take a lot of credit, but it's the people behind the scenes that bring all these creative ideas, and Dr. Wells and Dr. Chance and her staff, they do a tremendous job. And Lori and her staff with the iPad rollout. You know, I've not had anybody complain to me about our iPad rollout yet, and the kids are getting their iPads, 600 kids a day. We're talking about you have to hand them to them one at a time and go through and have them log in and those kinds of things. So there's a lot of great, exciting things going on. It's a great time to be in Garland ISD. It's a great time for our students. The Career Tech Center is going to open up career path opportunities for students that do not necessarily want to go into college, but they want to be successful in career, which is going to help us in a lot of our marketing to a lot of our businesses. I always end this, and I always always cringe a little bit. Does anybody have any questions? Because you never know what you're going to get hit with. But does anybody have any questions? I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. It's your chance. Yes. Will there be a way to identify? Yeah, the students have an app, and it tells them exactly which every business that's on there that they could go to. Okay? All right, I appreciate you folks. Thank you.